Welcome. Thank you for stopping by. My name is Jelle Van Der Zwet. I'm one of the founders and owners of a new concept called Oppo Suits, which we launched just over 2 years ago. So what I was planning on doing is giving a case study of what we've achieved and how we've started the business from scratch into a international company, and ending up with some examples of what I think would be useful for people who have ideas to start their own company and how to export it to to a worldwide organization. So this is what I just explained. Case study, I will talk about the organization, production, logistics and product, and ending with how I think you can, as a concept or a new business, supply customers worldwide after initially launching maybe just in the UK or in Europe. This is how our business started. We were backpacking in Vietnam in 2010 when we had a number of pretty ridiculous suits made. I'm Dutch originally, so I always wear orange when Holland plays, and we had a number of orange suits produced in Vietnam, which we then used back home in Europe and in Amsterdam, watching the World Cup. And the amount of response we had was bizarre. So that was how the idea came about, and how we then wanted to commercialize that all over the world. So our brand is positioned, what we say, between fancy dress and fashion. We are more than fancy dress, but we are being worn to fancy dress events. We sell them at a £60 price point, so it's a slightly higher price point than most of the fancy dress costumes. But we are positioned in a way that we also sell into department stores. We have Christmas-themed suits, and I will show them later on. So our target group are men between 18 and as old as you can get, who don't take themselves too seriously. Everyone has got parties or events where they want to stand out. So that's been the target market. Company structure, it's about 20 of us full-time at the moment, which is great after only being started about 3 years ago. Guus, myself, and Jasper, who is our creative director. This is our team. We're actually based in Amsterdam, even though we do a lot of business here in the UK. Production, we design all of our products and suits in Amsterdam. We produce out of China, so we spend a lot of time on sourcing the right suppliers out of China at the very start. Lead times, I mean, some of this is not of that much interest. We produce in normally 3 to 4 months time, and we have all the proper sort of suit sizes. So we don't want the small, medium, large, extra large, baggy suits for fancy dress, but we want people to look good and to feel comfortable by wearing one. Packaging is, it comes in a box, which is again slightly different than most of the fancy dress costumes, which would normally be in a plastic bag. Logistics, at the moment we have 3 different distribution centers. One in Holland, in Amsterdam, one in the UK, in Swindon, and one in Pennsylvania in the US. So we have fulfillment partners across the world, in which we're able to then supply both consumers as well as retailers around the world. And we're planning to open up one in Australia. Low return rate, again, is less of interest for you guys. We invest in a lot of stock, so we have tens of thousands of units in each warehouse that we supply both retailers and consumers with. We often offer next day delivery in the UK and in Western Europe. Guys are lazy, they have a party on a Saturday, they think about what they're going to wear on Thursday. So we need to react very quickly with next day delivery. In the US, that's slightly different because we see a 3 to 5 delivery window, and sometimes they pay a premium for next day air shipping. This is where customer base is from now. You can see we all over the world. We ship to consumers all over the world. Although our strongest position, our strong footprint is in UK, Holland, where we're from originally, Germany, and we're now looking into Scandinavia, has a similar culture to the UK. Lots of young people, and the US is already, we launched in the US about a year ago, and that has already been the biggest market for us. We were there in 1,100 stores in 2014. Some of our USPs, quality, packaging, price. Price we sell at a £60 price point. So lots of people think when they see a full suit, that must be 100 quid or 200 pounds. If we would be at that price, people wouldn't really buy that as a novelty purchase or as for a night out. So we actually have pretty low margins, but our business model is based on volume. And I think the international angle that you would have in general, and I will come back to it in a little bit, you can actually accept a lower margin model as long as the volume is there. So we don't make a lot of money on someone buying a suit, but we have groups, we have thousands of retailers, so we really do volumes that would make this work. It's an actual proper suit. I should have had a sample here so you can kind of see what it is, but it's fully lined. It's got all the pockets like you would expect from a normal suit. So in fact, it's a really simple idea that everyone knows exactly what to expect from a suit and how it would look like. But then obviously the print itself is pretty wild and ridiculous. We have 9 different sizes now. We used to have 7, but for the American market, we felt that there was a lot of demand for the bigger guys there too. So we've had, I think from a UK sizes, we go up to chest size 52. So that is pretty big. And again, it reflects our concept that we want people to feel comfortable. And the whole reason why we're doing well is that people are tired of wearing a really baggy, fancy dress outfit. Yes, it's cheaper, but this is something that brings a bit more style to the product. Oh. So current collection, I mean, we have about 35 different designs now. This is slightly outdated. We have a mixture of seasonal and non-seasonal designs. So we target big events like St. Patrick's Day. Halloween is probably our biggest season, especially in the US. Christmas has been huge for us. And we have some generic designs that works year-round. So for example, this is based on the old test card that you may remember from the BBC when the TV shuts down at 12. So it's a retro type print. This is the best seller actually. People recognize it. And you'll see some sort of Halloween-themed ones. This is huge for us in the US. Not only 4th of July, but the Americans just love it. They wear it every day almost. It's suddenly the students and the younger people, they go out, they want to be seen, they want to have a good time, and some of the designs are obviously made for that. There's another Christmas one here. We have, I think, 3 Christmas ones. And the Christmas promotion or marketing we've had was crazy. I think we had Alan Carr in the UK who gave one away on a TV show. We had the Telegraph, the Guardian, Metro, Evening Standard. All of the papers have been writing about our Christmas suits, following on from the ugly Christmas jumper, taking it to a whole new level, but then in a Christmas version. Sales and distribution. So effectively, internally, how we call it, we have a B2C and a B2B channel. So raising brand awareness and creating a brand is hugely important for us. So we sell directly to the consumer. Sometimes that could be an issue for some retailers because they are used to deal with brands who would only be selling into wholesale, and they would be the only ones selling them. But for us, I think certainly in the modern day, there's a lot of stuff going on social media for us, obviously. It is usually important to actually sell into consumers direct. These are some of the marketing and promotion things we do. Is actually a lot more than that in terms of what we do. But as you can imagine, it's a really eye-catching product, so it's really easy to get brand awareness. It's easy to get into the press, which helps a lot. So we have cards in the inside pocket, so whoever buys a suit, if he has a night out in London or wherever, the amount of questions you can ask, where did you get that suit from? What is this? Where do you get it from? How much is it? We felt, and we've experienced this ourselves, that at some point in the night, you get tired of speaking to people, explaining where you bought it from or how you got it. So we have 30 or 40 inside cards on the inside pocket. So whoever comes up to you and asks you, where did you get it from? You can simply give a card and you can enjoy the night with your friends. It's a simple idea, but it's been really clever and really strong for us to spread the word, because you can imagine if a suit was being worn at a party at the end of the night, everyone would have known where that suit has come from. So it's a snowball that goes running. Social media, it goes without saying, we do a lot with SEO and search engine advertising through AdWords. So we target specific big events like Halloween, Christmas, as I said. Festivals, we have stalls at Glastonbury, Seeker Garden Party, and Lowlands, which is the equivalent of Glastonbury in Holland, where we meet our fans, we ask them for new prints, we do photo competitions, So there's lots of stuff going on that we kind of entertain and get an engagement with our customer base. Guerrilla marketing, that's how we originally started. We started off with 2,000 orange suits that we put in production for the European Championships in 2012 when we started. And we turned up with 15 to 20 guys, all in orange suits. And before we knew it, we were in all the papers. And we're now actually talking to a lot of the big corporate companies throughout the world who want to be using our suits for a custom-made print with our logos on it or with our colors on it, so that they can actually achieve the same marketing and guerrilla effect that we've been having in terms of getting into the press and having a unique product and just to be seen by the press. PR, as I said, we had a lot of celebrity endorsement through Ellen Carr. We know that Jonathan Ross wanted to wear one on his Christmas special, but apparently his producer didn't let him to, so that was a shame. We had Jimmy Kimmel, the TV show, that he wore a Christmas suit the whole show. And you can imagine that it just blows up when it comes to social media. We have sales reps in a number of countries, ambassadors. So we have students that we sponsor, and they can earn some money by spreading a word. And they love to wear them anyway on student campus and on student nights out. Newsletters, so it's all the typical stuff, but they all add up. Sales and distribution, B2B. I would say probably 75% of the revenue of our company is B2B, so us supplying directly to retailers. Obviously, the margins are completely different, but they can do the volumes for you, and they also help in terms of marketing the product. You can imagine if we had one customer in the US that had over 1,000 stores for Halloween, and we were in all the 1,000 stores. So as soon as your brand is all over the US, then that's when you actually see a lot of purchases direct, or you'll see that they recognize it. So certainly, I would say don't hesitate to work together with retailers direct. A lot of people say, "Oh, you can do your own thing if you're strong in social media. You don't need a retailer. You can sell directly online." We certainly found that that's not true. I think having retailers on board would give you that volume that you need. And they can really make or break your product as well, and they can also test it. So the retail market for us has been hugely important. Certainly when you're looking to add or to get into a new country, retailers are very important because you will have effectively zero brand awareness in that country. But as soon as you deal with a retailer that has hundreds of stores, then that's almost a marketing function in itself. You could even consider not earning much money from that deal, but if you are in 1,000 stores, that you're gonna be earning money through other channels if the awareness is there. 2015 plans. There's a lot of stuff that's going on behind the scenes in terms of plans that we have. We're actually too busy to go after every single opportunity where we see potential. So we stick with our core concept in terms of targeting men. It's a male brand. We get questions from girls on a daily basis. When is the female line coming out? Kids range is something that we also looking at. But the problem is I think if you try to do too many things at the same time, you lose focus, and then you potentially end up doing half a job, which is not good. So these are a couple of our new prints. We have a comic book one. We have a new Christmas design. This is more of the Scottish one. We're targeting big events like the Rugby World Cup that is coming up later this year. So we'll have a St. George's one. We'll have a Scottish one. Probably a Welsh one. So we want to have a national design for every single country. So we have a Danish one now. We're looking at a Swedish one and a Norwegian one. It's for the big events like World Cups, you can really sell good volumes on this. In terms of other plans, we're now talking to some of the bigger football clubs in Europe about creating a fan suit so that we can be sold in their fan stores. So it could be a Chelsea suit or a Man United suit. So we're looking now at kind of getting that into that market. The same for universities. It's more a US opportunity. University in general is a good customer base for us. But the US is very big in terms of Texas University has an orange color. So we can sell lots of orange suits to Texas University, or to at least the students at Texas University. So we want to do the official colored suits for universities and arrange a licensing deal with them. Corporate companies, as what I just explained, we're now talking to some of the big corporates like Vodafone about creating a red suit with their logos onto it so that they can then use it for their own PR. So it's a tool for them that would open up doors when it comes to raising awareness, PR. This show is a perfect example. We have lots of exhibitors that are now coming to us and say, oh, my logo is a red logo. I want to be buying your red suit. £60, we stick our logo onto it. It's 5 of us that stand at the booth. And everyone that walks past thinks, oh, what are these suits? And it's an eye-catching thing, and it raises the awareness, and it helps them in terms of getting in a conversation with some people that are walking around here. So that's another opportunity for us, but we are taking it slowly in terms of the new stuff because our core business is selling these suits into everyday retailers, so that's fancy dress stores and department stores. So that's been the case study in terms of where Opus has been and what we have done so far. We have a catalog here as well, so you can see what the company is and what designs we do. But I just wanted to kind of get into how someone with an idea can really export and expand a business model on a worldwide basis, because I think that's the angle what I'm here for. So I've got 4 bullet points. I was on the plane yesterday because we were showing in Nuremberg at the toy fair there. So I only got in last night. So I've written some notes in terms of, and that's also good for us and for me to reflect on what we've done and the good things we've done and things you learn. But certainly, I think one of the biggest things now, which is amazing, is that we see that the opportunity is everywhere, and with the current times with social media, internet, and fairly cheap flights, is that the whole world is becoming more borderless. You can have a product that you have created in London, but you could sell it everywhere. And I will go into that in terms of the way we've done it, and it's actually really, it's not really easy, but it's everyone can do it, and you don't need to be a big corporate with a big budget to do that, because we started from nothing, and we put maybe 40, 50 grand in it right at the start, which is still a lot of money. So there was some risk at stake, but it's not that you need millions to conquer the whole world. You obviously need a unique product, and that's something that it's not very easy to find. But I think if you have found that and it doesn't exist in other markets, I think it's pretty doable to really get that into other markets. And I'll explain the way I see it, the way we've done it. I think one of the things I already said is that you could actually decide to go for a more lower margin product and a high volume. If we only had the UK or only Holland where originally started as a market, we wouldn't be doing so well, because the market isn't big enough. Because we need to sell 10,000s of these things on a yearly basis, if not 100,000s, and that's what we're getting to, hopefully. If you're selling a few thousand on a low margin product, it's not going to work. So if you have a model that could be a worldwide thing, then you can potentially look at a lower margin to make sure that you have a very competitively priced product, and also it keeps the competition away. People are now trying to copy us because we've been successful in the last couple of years, but the £60 price point in retail is so sharp. And we can actually be selling them at a slightly higher price point because the quality is good enough. But it keeps the competition away to go for a lower margin product. Services, so professional services, if you have an idea of a professional service rather than a physical product, it's even easier to sell it worldwide, obviously, because that was often done through software. Whereas our product is a physical product, so we have to have logistics. So I'll come to that in a minute. I guess you can also look at other, I travel a lot because of the business, and whenever I'm in New York or in China where we produce, or other places, it's amazing how you can just walk around in the streets or walking in stores and seeing very simple ideas that are going on in the US but that are not going on here in Europe. And there's so many more times now where I think when I look at something that this could do really well in Europe too. So even when you go traveling, you can actually spot good opportunities that aren't really going on here at the moment, especially with Americans who think that Europe is a pretty small market. They don't focus often on. So even when I'm in the US, there's a lot of business ideas I have when I see stuff going on, and I can easily do a really good job of that in Europe. I think it's also good to look at the some inspiration business models. Personally, I like Zipcar, for example. I use that a lot. Virgin, you'll see that lots of the new businesses and the younger and the sort of the new economy businesses, they put a lot of humor into their marketing stuff on the product. So it's not so much of a serious thing, and certainly that has inspired us a lot in terms of the way we have our packaging created. For example, on our packaging says 100% polyester, 200% amazing. It's giving away, we don't hide away that it's a polyester suit. People don't wear this on an everyday working day, so it is for a fun thing. So we don't hide away that it's a polyester, but it's a good type of polyester. I think all these little jokes or things you could certainly that help a lot when you build your brand, and it's very important from a social media point of view. Trade shows, I think when you visit trade shows around the world, again, there's amazing ideas bouncing around, and you know, some of the best companies have stolen an idea and done it better and different or cheaper. Or so again, I think, you know, everyone is copying us, and I think that's normal almost. You know, yes, I don't like it when I see a copy suit that is now coming out, but at the same time, we knew that in advance, and you need to keep thinking ahead and making sure that you come out with the newest designs or different price points or whatever your strategy is against it. But at least in a way, it keeps you sharp. That if competition is coming in, then you just have to deal with it. There's no, in this market, you can't expect to create a monopoly on a suit. Logistics and production. So we have 3 distribution centers now around the world. We have one in Amsterdam that supplies the whole of continental Europe. We have one in Swindon that supplies the UK, and one in Pennsylvania that supplies the US. This is actually something that I think a lot of people wouldn't necessarily know. If we are launching in a new market, we are effectively setting up a new warehouse. But often people think, you know, I have to employ staff, I need to rent a warehouse, I need to have, there's a lot of startup cost and a lot of hassle and risk to then start up your own warehouse. But as many people do know this, but lots of people don't, there are simple fulfillment houses that you can outsource all of that to. The first thing that when we sold 2,000 orange suits in 2 weeks' time, we were sitting till 5, 6 a.m. Putting labels on boxes, and in a way that's great because then you know exactly how much time it takes and how much of a hassle it is to sell parcels yourself. So the first thing we then actually did is outsourcing all of that. So we have fulfillment parties in those 3 countries. We stock them, they do the pick and packing, and they actually do. So there's some investment in terms of software that orders that are coming into our system are connected to their software, so they can print the dispatch notes, print the labels, and they can actually ship to your customers. It's actually a pretty flexible business model. You pay them money per pallet of stock that you have, and the variable cost is based on the amount of units you're selling. So they may charge you 80p or £1 for every pick that you do, depending on the kind of product that you have and the weight and stuff. But if you're paying them a lot of money every month, that means it's a good thing because you've sold a lot of money, and then you know it's been worthwhile anyway. So for us, that's been actually a really simple, very simple thing in terms of having your logistical solution on a worldwide basis. So we're now opening up a new distribution center in Australia. It's effectively shipping maybe your first container into Australia, and they can then start, or we can then start selling, because you need stock locally. Shipping out of the UK to the US from a cost perspective, from a delivery window perspective, is not going to work. And you will never, yes, you could be successful and you can make some money out of it, but then someone will copy your idea and have stock locally in the US. They'll offer next day shipping, and you need to be seen in every single market as a local company. They want to be paying in dollars, they want to be reading American language, they want to be getting stuff delivered the next day if they pay extra for that. So in every market that we enter, we try to do anything we can that company would be confused about whether we're actually an Amsterdam-based company or a local US company. And I think that's very important. One of the other things which is really easy is having a local telephone number. You know, there are many companies that offer a software solution whereby you can have a toll-free US number, which is then directed to your UK or even your mobile number. So as long as, obviously, the difference in time zones, that's something you can never solve. But then you can solve that in terms of having call center people that are working American hours, which is what we're doing too. So all these things, you can even have a through a serviced office, you can have a local postal address. So you can, even on your website, if you want to have an address on there because it adds some credibility, you can have a local address in New York for maybe $100 or $150 a month to be seen as a local company. And I think all those things, there's so many things now that you can really come across as a local US company, which is what we're trying to do. Marketing and promotion. As I touched on before, I think the B2B, the supplying retailers, is actually a huge marketing tool for us. The fact that we were in these 1,100 stores in the US has given us the lift off in the US that we need. So certainly think about the retail side and how they could market your product, because certainly if you're a small player with no budget, you need to be in stores. And we could have decided to open up our own opposite stores in the city centers. We'll sell some, I'm sure, but it's very risky. It's high cost. You're talking about rents and contracts and retail locations that you don't even have any knowledge about. So I think we just want to focus on product development and building the business, and let it have our retailers doing the job in terms of selling it into their customer base. You obviously have to be selective which retailers you want to target. We are in a unique market that we are actually between fancy dress and fashion. And certainly if we want to get more into the fashion space in the US, if you are seen to be in a discount store, you can forget it about a Macy's or about a department store, because they look, it's the same as if you would be in a, well, the 99p store is the wrong example, but you see what I mean. If you're in a discount store, then it'll be very hard to then sell into more of the upscale market. The other good thing is, what I've actually learned is, when you have a product that you do sell into the US, is that it's actually an amazing thing to sell into the Americans, and this may sound a bit unfair, but it amazes me how much they don't know about the European market, and it almost helps us in terms of how we can talk up how big we've got in the US, because or in Europe, because many don't actually know whether that's the case or not. And it's quite, I think the other way around, Europeans often know what has been trend-setting in the US, but the other way around is quite strange that they don't know what's going on in the European market. And I think it's fair to use that to your advantage to sell into the US. And to be honest, it's not a lie that we've been doing well in Europe, but yeah, obviously when you're trying to sell into them, you have to come up with a good story. So we show them all the newspapers we've been having attention from in the UK, and it helps them to believe in the story. I think our biggest pitfall, wanting to end up as the last one, our biggest pitfall, I think, is lack of time. So it's almost every single day. I mean, we've been growing from 3 of us that came up with the concept, 3 friends, to a 20 people full-time business, and we're looking for more people. Is that you constantly have to ask yourself when you're into that fast-growing mode, is what am I doing every day that I shouldn't really be doing, that I can outsource, or whether it's outsourcing it to a different company, or whether it's employing staff to do it for you, so that you can spend more and more time on the strategic stuff and on product development and coming up with a kids line or a female line. So I think to keep your focus on your core business is extremely important. Even some of our retailers ask us, "Oh, can you not do the same pattern hat, or maybe sunglasses or socks or underwear?" And it's if you're hungry for business, then you think, "Yeah, we can do this. We can source that. We know people that can do this." But at the same time, it's not good to diversify earlier on. I think for us, we want to focus on our core concept. Certainly, when you've got something which is unique and different, then stick to that. Because if you try to get into different markets, there are much better people that can do a better job in socks or underwear, and they specialize in this. We've created something which is our own stuff, and I think we want to focus on that. And then if it comes to it, once we have a global brand and we are supplying retailers worldwide, that may be the time. And when competition has come in and we've dealt with that and we have a good solid coverage, that's when you should be considering doing other stuff. Up until then, you should just focus on the core stuff.